want to do this video over again because the last time I did this video I was really angry, and I realized that I don't come across well to people who still don't know the things that we talk about when I swear and scream. But just the fact that I've been talking about this for the last few years, and now all of a sudden fake truthers are starting to talk about it, and people who are still brainwashed in La La Land are making videos saying, oh, it'll never happen, it's unconstitutional, this and that, when I've been showing you proof of what their plans are for the last few years. I get triggered when I see people making videos like that, and I see how many brainwashed people are in there saying it'll never happen, because it's going to happen. It's scripted to happen, and I have proof. So I'm going to do this over. I'm not going to scream and call people, names or anything. I was just triggered and I was pissed off. So it's impossible for me not to get pissed off sometimes, but I know you guys understand where I'm coming from. So I'm just going to do this over so this will be a better video for people to share, because it does contain a lot of important information, and it'll be easier to share when it's not me screaming and calling people retarded. So let's get started. So first we're going to go over to my blog. See, I wrote this one in 2015. This was information I found from sweetliberty.org, which I'm happy I stumbled across years ago. That original blog post, I forget what year it was exactly. I'd have to go back to the original. I also added my own things in here too, but I'll leave a link for the original blog post. But this tells you step by step what you need to do if you want to go look up in black and white, in official government documents and official government code books, public laws, what their plans are, all of their plans, what they're doing, and it shows all the agreements between foreign countries that we have to make this happen. So let me start reading this, and then we'll talk. If someday your children ask how your liberty died in America and what happened that caused the demise of the nation, read this and you'll be able to answer them. If they ask you why American citizens have been disarmed and placed into re-education camps, you'll know why. To find out why, go to your library. Every city library in the United States, a major city, contains the following documents. Tell the librarian to show you where the United States code books are shelved. Now, you don't have to go to the library to read these, because you can find these all online, which I'm going to share with you as well. But if you also want to go to a library and have a copy in your hands, you can do that as well. Okay, so if you're actually going to go to the library and get the books, there's 25 books in a set. These are hardcover books printed every 8 to 10 years, and they're updated annually, so every year with softback supplements until a new hardcover issue is published. Okay, you can pick any publication, but let's pick up the 1988 publication, which illustrates this plan going back to the 1950s with every updated publication since. Open volume 9. Turn to page 651. Here you will find Public Law 87-297. This document calls, in their words, for the United States to eliminate its armed forces. This law was signed into the United States in 1961. John F. Kennedy signed this into motion, as well as every U.S. president following him, as it has worked to enact its provisions. The federal government knows the public will not agree with this, which is why they want to take away your firearms. This is Title 22, USC 2551. Here you will find the definition of what the federal government means by disarmament. The disarmament calls for the elimination of the United States Armed Forces. This also calls for the elimination of weapons of all kinds from every citizen. This is Title 22 U.S. Code 2552. Again, I will show you these documents after I read this blog to you. On page 654, this is if you have the actual book in your hand at the library, not when you're looking it up online. Here you find it stated in item A, control, reduction, and elimination of armed forces. And as item D, elimination of armed forces. So the U.S. Armed Forces are going to be eliminated and relinquished from national control, which in turn wipes out our sovereignty as a nation. All right, they're going to absolve our military. Public Law 87-297 is further explained in the State Department document publication 7277. Your librarian can furnish you a copy. You can also buy a copy for $1. You can buy a printed copy online. I'll share a link. Also get a copy of the blueprint for the peace race. This is a 35-page booklet printed by the United States Armed Control and Disarmament Agency. How many people even knew that there was an agency named the United States Arms Control and Disarmament Agency? I never knew that. You know, people should know this. So that's why I'm sharing this. All right, this is the unabridged version of State Department document 7277. These booklets explain how our military is to be reduced to 2.1 million men. China and Russia are to be reduced to that level also. Guess where our military stands right now, guys? Remember when Obama started downsizing our military? It's been happening, okay, for the last 9 years now. They got us exactly to the point of around 2.1 million men we've been reduced to. China and Russia are to be reduced to that level also. I haven't looked into how many personnel they have right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're sitting around this number right now. At that point, the United States will transfer on a permanent basis 1/2 of its armed forces to be merged with Russian and Chinese military forces. Okay, U.S. troops have been training with Russian and Chinese troops on American soil. Okay, and still are to this day. They're already here. Here's a picture of U.S. soldiers with Russian Spetsnaz at Fort Bragg, training together. Here's a picture of U.S. forces with Chinese forces. Pretty sure this is a German soldier here. I can't recognize his camo. Here's American with Chinese, again, at Fort Bragg in the United States. I personally know a friend of mine, all right? My friend Matt, he's a retired major. He trained with Chinese forces and Russian forces in the United States. That's very well documented too. And I've talked about that as well. Okay, here's a video of me December 20th, 2016, talking about this Operation Unconventional Warfare Exercise 2016. All right, and I shared what their plans were in this video. I'll leave a link to this video. And I describe what their training missions were. It involved U.S. Special Operations Forces, the Department of Homeland Security, and FEMA, and also People's Liberation Army soldiers of China and Russian Spetsnaz forces. What are the chances? It's because I'm not speaking bullshit to you. I'm speaking truth to you, and anybody can, all you have to do is know how to read. They're telling you what their plans are and what they're doing. You just need to know how to read and critically think. So this document that I shared in 2016 when I made this video, okay, a year ago, told you who was involved, okay, and it corresponds with these government documents that I'm sharing with you, and I'm going to show you after I'm done reading this blog. All right, this is all lining up. The proof is in the pudding, so let me take you over to catalog.archives.gov. All right, this is a .gov website. It's official government documents. Okay, this is Public Law 87-297. All right, an act to establish a United States Arms Control and Disarmament Agency. How many of you knew that there was something called the United States Arms Control and Disarmament Agency. I never knew that. Don't you think that would be something important that we should know? Okay, obviously that's why we're never taught about this. The ultimate goal of the United States is a world which is free from the scourge of war and the dangers and burdens of armaments, in which the use of force has been subordinated to the rule of law, and in which international adjustments to a changing world are achieved peacefully. It is the purpose of this act to provide towards this goal by creating a new agency of peace to deal with the problem of reduction and control of armaments, looking toward ultimate world disarmament. Let me read that again. To deal with the problem of reduction and control of armaments, looking toward ultimate world disarmament. This organization must have the capacity to provide the essential scientific, economic, political, military, psychological, and technological information. Sound like something I talked about in my last video? Upon which realistic arms control and disarmament policy must be based. It must be able to carry out the following primary functions: the conduct, support, and coordination of research for arms control and disarmament policy formulation, preparation for management of the United States participation in international negotiations in the arms control and disarmament field. Okay, it goes on, lists more bullet points, but they're just coming out and telling you their goal is world disarmament. The terms arms control and disarmament mean the identification, verification, inspection, limitation, control, reduction, or elimination of armed forces and its armaments of all kinds, under international agreement, including the necessary steps taken under such an agreement to establish an effective system of international control, or to create and strengthen international organizations for the maintenance of peace. So this is also saying to just create out of thin air international organizations for the maintenance of peace, how they see fit, whenever they want. So the term government agency means any executive department, commission, agency, independent establishment, corporation wholly or partly owned by the United States, which is an instrumentality of the United States, or any board, bureau, division, service, office, officer, authority, administration, or other establishment in the executive branch of government. What a fucking mouthful of spells there, huh? The term agency means the United States Arms Control and Disarmament Agency. Again, I wish we were taught this in school, you know? There is hereby established an agency to be known as the United States Arms Control and Disarmament Agency. The agency shall be headed by a director who shall serve as the principal advisor to the Secretary of State and the President on arms control and disarmament matters. In carrying out his duties under this act, the director shall, under the direction of the Secretary of State, have primary responsibility within the government for an arms control and disarmament matters as defined in this act. He shall be appointed by the President, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. He shall receive compensation, at $22,500. Okay, these guys are already fucking trillionaires, so this is meaningless. So basically, this is saying the president can form any organization he wants out of thin air, appoint whoever he wants to it, and appoint whoever he wants to be the head of this organization. A deputy director of the agency shall be appointed by the president, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. So anything that they decide to just make up. Not to exceed 4 assistant directors may be appointed by the president, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. They shall receive compensation They shall perform such duties and excessive such powers as the director may prescribe. The President, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, may appoint a General Advisory Committee of not to exceed 15 members to advise the Director on arms control and disarmament policy and activities. The President shall designate one of the members as chairman. The members of the committee may receive the compensation reimbursement for expenses. The director is authorized and directed to exercise his powers in such a manner as to ensure the acquisition of a fund of theoretical and practical knowledge concerning disarmament. To this end, the director is authorized and directed under the direction of the President: 1. To ensure the conduct of research, development, and other studies in the field of arms control and disarmament. 2. To make arrangements, including contracts, agreements, and grants for the conduct of research, development, and other studies. This goes on and on. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The detection and identification, inspection, monitoring, limitation, reduction, control, and elimination of armed forces and armaments, including thermonuclear, nuclear, missile, conventional, bioweapons, chemical weapons, and radiological weapons. Let me read that again. The elimination of armed forces and armaments, including thermonuclear, nuclear, missile, conventional, biochemical, and radiological weapons. They're completely eliminating our military and all of our arms. Everything is being absorbed into international control. And this is telling you right here. Structure and operation of international control, it describes. And they go on to say the reduction and elimination of the dangers of war is why they're going to be doing this. This is how they're going to sell it to you. Training of scientists, technicians, and other personnel for manning control systems, which may be created by international arms control and disarmament agreements. Okay, again, the reduction and elimination of the danger of war. This is how they're going to sell it to you: from accident, miscalculation, possible surprise attack, including but not limited to improvements in the methods of communications between nations. They're saying, yep, there's going to be no war, sheeple. We're just getting rid of all the military, all of your sovereign militaries, and just making one big world military. And they're going to try to sell this to you that it's going to bring peace and security. But no, this is one world government. So you can go on to read this more. And like I said, in black and white, it just describes how our military is going to be completely. We're not going to have a sovereign military. Russia's not going to have a sovereign military. China's not going to have a sovereign military. It's all going to be merged together. Also, I'm going to leave a link for U.S. Code 101-216. This further describes cooperation with the United States and Russia. Talks about bases in the United States, one in Utah, an intelligence hub in Utah for the Russians to work out of. Black and white right here. So I'll leave links for you to read all this. This has been their plans for a long time, and like I said, they're just slowly releasing this shit to you. Okay. these Chicago officials calling for UN troops to maybe come in and help with the violence problem that's going on there, just to see the reaction of the general public on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook, right? Because they're planning on doing this anyways. They do things gradually, slowly but surely. So check the links in the description. Print out those documents so you have hard copies. Share them with your friends and family. This is the truth, guys. Also go and check the link for this video I posted last year talking about UX-16 and what their training missions were with U.S. forces. And just like I said in this video, the main places that they were training, I lost my picture here. They were training in relocating populations of people in Texas, Florida, and California. Also, 5 other states they were training in, but Texas, Florida, and California, places hit by the hurricanes and wildfire. Those didn't even happen yet. I was talking about this years ago. And here we have FEMA and DHS and U.S. Special Operations training to relocate large amounts of American people in these 3 states. It's not a coincidence, okay? These storms and these fires, these are not acts of nature. These are engineered. These are man-made. And there's proof of that too, you guys. All in black and white, just like I'm showing you here. There's proof of these storms being manufactured. I'll leave links for that as well if you're interested in looking into that. But for those of you who are still stuck, you're still stuck in the matrix. And you somehow still believe in politicians, and you still somehow believe in government, and you don't think they would ever do this to us. Ask yourself why none of your presidents or congressmen have ever talked about this before. Print this out and send them a letter and ask them to reply to you about this, and they won't, because they're all in on it, all right? I know it's hard to accept this. It's uncomfortable knowing this, but it's the truth. Donald Trump's not here to save us. Hillary Clinton would be doing the exact same thing. Obama, Bush, all of them sold us out. They're all pieces of shit. Okay? This also goes on to state, which correlates with the FEMA executive orders, which I'll share a link in. If you haven't read those, you should read those immediately. That describes our new government. It's a provisional government. FEMA wasn't founded to just give people bags of Doritos and blankets after storms. Okay, they were formed as a continuity of government, which I explained thoroughly in the post that I'm going to share. But when this all goes down, okay, and however they decide to do this, in conjunction with other things that they're making happen, it lists here to employ individuals of outstanding ability without compensation. Do you know what that is? That's slavery. Like that executive order that that's why Obama signed that executive order, that 13603, I think it was a number. I'll leave a link to that below, but that's a real executive order you can read on whitehouse.gov. Talking about they could take any person that they have some sort of skill that the government says that they want or need. They can put you in a labor camp or anywhere. You could be working in a factory for the government or anything that they decide. Okay, the labor camps are coming. They did the same thing. History repeats itself, okay? They've done this before, and they're going to do it again. And yes, they've done it on American soil before to American citizens during World War II. They're going to do it again, only on a much larger scale. Okay? That executive order, that FEMA executive order, talked about this. Making slavery legal, because you're going to be working in labor camps during this Third World War. All right? And a lot of people, a lot of citizens are going to go along with it. All right, before I got banned from Twitter, I would troll like Trump fan pages, and I would leave questions or I'd leave facts there to see if any of them would reply. And I left something there. I said, if World War III happens, okay, and Trump gets on TV and your government tells you that they need you to go to these labor camps to help fund the war effort, how many of you would do it? And I wasn't too shocked at the reply I got, because I got dozens of replies from Trump-tards saying that they'd be wholeheartedly willing to go work and live in a labor camp to fund the war effort, to back their favorite puppet. Do you understand? Willingly. And they will turn on you if you try to wake them up and tell them that their government is a terrorist organization. Because I've already had the cops called on me over my YouTube channel. John Whitney, you piece of shit. You're so brain dead, dude. You called the thugs on me and they pounded on my door in the middle of the night like I was a terrorist because I'm trying to tell people these things. Okay? The United States is done for. All right? It's over. And over 99% of our citizens are completely brainwashed. And they will turn on you. They will turn on me. I'm supposed to be your brother, and you're turning on me. Men that I served with, that I risked my life for, are turning on me for trying to wake them up to the truth. How sickening and heartbreaking is that? I also want to leave another document here that you can go over, and this clearly it states that it states cooperation with our government and foreign governments, how they're going to have a Russian intelligence center set up in Utah, all kinds of things. But you know, print this stuff out and share this video and share it with friends and family who actually, you know, want to know this stuff, because most people, they can't handle the truth. They'll block their ears, they'll shake their head, they'll call you crazy, they'll call the fucking police on you. Because most of the citizens of this country, in this world, are now our enemies. Because they're turning on us for trying to wake them up to this tyranny. They'd rather defend their favorite puppet on TV and their cronies who've been ruling over mankind since the beginning of time. Their cronies who blew up the World Trade Center. Their cronies who pulled off every world war and are scripting the final Third World War right now. It's been scripted for hundreds of years. And it's about to come to fruition now. And this is all in black and white, guys, of what they're going to do. United States is over with. We're so close, brothers and sisters, to this happening. All of this coming to fruition. There's many people out there, people that I love and care about, that I worry about, because they still don't know what's about to happen. And those that I do try to warn about this don't believe that anything is, they don't believe anything spiritual about all of this that's happened, because they still don't realize that everything that we've been taught in our lives was a lie. Everything, our history, was all one big scripted lie. Once you look into this and you find out the truth of every war and how it was all scripted way in advance, and they sold us all lies in our history books, and you find out the truth, everything makes perfect sense. All ties together perfectly, and they hid this from us our entire lives. The truth about every world war, every major war, everything that's ever happened, even the creation of all these organizations in the UN. This is all scripted thousands of years in advance. I need to, this is a testimony of mine, work on bringing my brothers and sisters that don't know the truth yet, waking them up and then bringing them to God. Once you find out the truth of everything that we were lied to about our entire lives, everything makes perfect sense, and it's impossible to believe that this is all just an accident or a coincidence, because it can't be. It's not physically possible for a tiny percent of the world's population that just interbred with itself. A tiny percent of the entire world's population. Less than 2% of the world's population was able to achieve this plan, step by step, planning things centuries in advance. It wouldn't be possible without some sort of spiritual force behind it. I believe in a good God, a good loving God, and I also believe in a destructor, a rebellious force that is against creation, that hates creation, wants to destroy creation. And I believe the world that we're trapped in is controlled by the destructor. Because it is. And these minions that are ruling over us, the destructor's little minions that have been enslaving and slaughtering mankind since the beginning of time, they're of the destructor. They're not of my God. They're not of the Creator. But we're trapped in his realm right now. And the only way to get the fuck out of here is to find God and to accept creation and to accept and love the truth. Accept Christ. Love God. This isn't an accident. All right? Human consciousness didn't just evolve out of pond scum after an explosion billions of years ago. All right? We're all here for a reason. You're listening to this message for a reason. We've all been chosen to be here during this time for a reason. Let's try and live our short lives trapped in this realm, trapped in these flesh bags in this demonic realm. Let's try to live the best that we can for the short amount of time that we're left here. Because we don't have much time left here. We have to get ourselves right, get our houses in order, get our friends and family and our loved ones in order. Because they're going to need you. They're going to need us through this coming time. Thanks for listening. We'll talk soon.